It's recording.
Oh, is that one in it?
Okay.
Okay. Just to quickly introduce myself, I'm Ashley Ushi, and I am an instructional assistant here. And I work with some of you all, and then of course some of you all I don't. But this focus group is going to be held just basically discussing some issues or some ideas that we have with the Fun Run Fridays. How do you think your kids like it? How do you think they're adapting to it? What do you think maybe could be changed? What are some things that are like perfectly about it? It's just all just to get information to see if we can make it better or see just, you know, what we need to do with it. But first, we can start with you, and could you please tell us your name and the grade level?
Sure. My name is Deb Sterling, and I teach physical education.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Casey Faust, and I am the social worker here.
Okay.
Angie Evans, 4th grade.
Okay.
Michelle Galendo, 3rd grade.
Emily Cohen, student teacher. Jessica Kennedy, 2nd grade.
Okay. Great. So moving right along. Okay. Why do you think that healthy eating habits and movement are important in the life of children?
I think we feel better when we eat better, right? And I think when kids move and eat good foods, then they feel better. And in an environment where there's a lot of other variables like depression or bad home lives, I feel like that's something we can control, so we should try to control it.
I think also for kids, I think it's most important because they're not just intuitively born with this education. You have to be taught by your parents, which most of us were taught by our parents, but a lot of the students at our school are not taught these things. Priorities are different than others, so I think it's most important for us to be able to step into that role and teach them about healthy eating habits.
Right. What do you think are some of the barriers that affect them from not, I guess, learning about healthy eating habits, and what are some things that they're faced with? What would you say?
Well, I broken homes, definitely.
Okay.
Parents who work late night shifts aren't home when their kids are home,
Okay.
just don't have as much time with their children as other parents might.
Okay.
I think when you're faced on a budget, right, you're going to buy the cheaper foods, which tend to not be as healthy. You're also going to do time-wise, and so a quick snack is not always a healthy snack unless you are knowledgeable about other things. And I think stuff that you can put in the microwave versus, you know, stuff that's home cooked and adding your ingredients, I think time and budget are huge barriers.
Right.
And sometimes a lot of our parents don't know what healthy eating is
Right.
Because they weren't
So
taught.
it's just-
because they weren't taught.
Yeah.
So it's just, okay.
Great.
Vicious cycle.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
Can't teach what you don't know.
Okay. And before moving forward, I forgot to at least tell us the ground rules. If anyone is welcome to speak out, speak open, whatever you decide that you would like to say. I forgot to say that. Okay. All right, the next question. Think about when you first heard about the Fun Run Friday initiative. What were some of your first thoughts and opinions about the student involvement in it?
I heard about it from my kids. I didn't. It's not part of our curriculum. It's part of Deb's curriculum. So the first time I heard about it was my kids just. I didn't really understand what they were saying. They were just really excited about it.
Okay.
That was the same thing for me with being new
Mm-hmm.
to Southfield, not knowing anything about it. And then my kids are excited about going to PE on Friday because they had the fun run. And that was one of the first things that I heard about when we changed schedules and had PE twice.
Well, and I think it helps motivate each other. I know in my class, they're all yelling at each other if they're not running for the full time.
That's not the point.
It's not, but it gets
Positive
them
peer
all.
pressure.
I know even in class, I had one little girl who was in class trying to work out a lot to get her cardio up so that she could do it. And I think she did. I don't know what's her name, but
Yes.
I mean, they were like, yeah, go. And so it motivates each other to be healthy.
Good.
I don't remember liking running when I was a kid, so I think I was just like, wow, is it something that they like? Because my own thoughts and my experiences kind of, you know, influenced that. So I was kind of curious whether they liked it or dreaded it.
Okay. So how did you introduce the thoughts of Fun Run Friday to the students?
How did I actually
How did
introduce
they
it
go
to
you
them?
out?
Well, you know, it's amazing because the word fun was the key. And when I started calling running fun, they were like, yeah, okay. And then with the incentive chains, you know, so they can try to get their weekly charms, that was huge. You know, just explaining the benefits of it and the fun of it and the sport of it. And in all honesty, it was created because my schedule was so horrible and my classes that I had on Friday kept getting ahead, and it was just hard for me to teach. So I thought, I've got to create something on Fridays, because that's when I have that repetitive class, so that I can keep everybody together because of equipment problems and stuff. And I just thought, we're going to start running, because it was not good way back in the day. And, you know, just the cardio part of it. And it's amazing
Really?
how the difference is. I mean, the number of kids when we first started doing it that were able to complete the 20 minutes, because that's our end goal. And now how many kids actually do it. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm not interviewing you, but I'm curious.
Sure.
Have you seen a transfer then to how they interact in other games as far as their?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all about, and that's why when I said, you know, they're yelling at other kids, we tell them, you know, there's always the 100 PE buck incentive that if everyone in the class does it,
Yeah.
but we don't get angry with anyone who doesn't, we help them.
Mhm.
So what I see now is a lot of motivation, a lot of kids motivating each other in a lot of other things, not just running, but instead of being angry about it, because we talk about that so much, they're like, come on, you know, they go up and they actually help them along.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's carried over. It's been huge. Yeah, I tell people FunRunFridays is the best thing that ever happened to me. Even if I didn't start it. Yeah.
Good. My next question was, what were some of the attitudes and feelings about the Fun Run Fridays? But I pretty much have.
Well, it
the
wasn't
answers
great
to
when it
those.
first started.
Okay,
From the
But-
older kids, they were like,
but it's just,
You said
and now
older
they get angry
kids?
if they don't get to have it.
The older kids?
The older kids especially, you know, especially the 5th and 6th grade girls. But I explain what jogging is, and when I show them what you really can do that's considered jogging, they're like, oh, well, I can do that. Well, then go for it.
okay. Okay, so, so now that the Fun Run Fridays are into place, what are some methods or talks that you've talked, that either one of you all have talked to your students about? Like if you've had a student that I guess maybe did not do so well or did not meet the 20 minutes, or like he or she was just kind of feeling down or sad about it. Like, what are some ways that you've talked to your children to help them feel better, or to, I guess, increase motivation?
I'm interested.
If you've had, if anyone's had any
It makes me think
experiences.
about Girls on the Run.
Mm-hmm.
So just setting goals. I think setting goals.
Right.
Small
Not
goals.
thinking, okay, I didn't do it this week, I better do it next week. No, I mean, where are you now? And what's a realistic point that you want to be at next week? We'll run 2 more. Regardless if it's the end goal of, you know, the whole 20 minutes, or if we did 5 minutes, let's do 7 minutes. So I think just helping them set goals instead of making it about the end goal. It's about the journey.
And like I think you're being your own competitor versus racing other people too, because then you have your own baseline, and so
Right.
your personal best and getting your personal best better versus trying to run what your best friend's running, maybe.
Well, we've seen on Girls on the Run, they catch up on that, and so it's more not about did you run the whole time. They're asking each other, did you get better?
Mhm.
Right.
Not did you run the whole time.
What did
It's
you get
always,
last
What did
time?
you get last time? What
Right.
did you get now?
Right.
So they're asking each other, and they understand that whole part of it.
I've had kids who, a particular student, one Friday was so excited because they'd run 20 minutes and said, last week I couldn't, but this week I could. So they could see their own growth,
Okay.
which I thought was really
I actually had a
positive.
6th grade boy this year who had not done any of them, but I could tell he was working really hard every week, and he did the 20 minutes, and he was like on cloud nine. He was so excited about doing that.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was a challenge for him.
Which
Yeah.
makes it even cooler, right?
Yeah.
So did his classmates
Oh
respond
yeah.
really
And
well?
every time he would run by, I would be like going, because he didn't want anybody to know his face.
Yeah.
If I told you who it was, you'd be. Yeah.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool.
So besides the smart change the play initiative that we're doing now, what other methods of movement has anyone incorporated in their classrooms?
We use Go Noodle
Okay.
a lot.
Okay.
And then Adventures to Fitness, we just got a school-wide subscription, so that's been good for indoor recess. Oh, the yoga guy, what's his name?
Maximo.
Maximo. Maximo, yeah.
I know in my class a lot of times, especially during math because it's right after lunch, we don't have time to do fitness videos. So we do a lot of stand up, go to the bathroom, and then run back to your paper to respond.
Okay.
So just
just movement.
I mean, we don't have time to stop and do a 5-10 minute
Yeah.
fitness video all the time. So a lot of times it's just getting up or standing up and then hopping up and down when you're done. Or a lot of times that's driven by my students who have a lot of energy
I'm saying
anyway.
you probably have to tell them to do that.
You know, let's all hop like she's hopping.
Right. A lot of more standing. I think making it an option, and that's just that. It's been ingrained in myself. You need to sit down. You just need to sit down. I think it's because a lot of people told me growing up, you need to sit down. You're in a classroom, you need to sit down. So I think just kind of getting out of that mindset. No, they can write and stand. It's fine.
Which I appreciate that change too, because I know I used to always be the teacher. People walk in and be like, "Oh, you have so many kids standing," and I was always the kid in school who wanted to stand. So, listen, you're working.
Exactly.
So
What you
standing
do,
doing
just
right,
stand.
like,
Yeah, you're working. Who cares?
Standing doing right.
So how effective do you think that you've been in helping your students understand the purpose of movement and learning?
Better than before. I know there's a lot on teachers' plates, and I think it's hard to fit everything in there. But I think just being more conscious of it is step one, and then you can get smart about it.
Well, and I love that it's kind of given us permission to do that stuff.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Because like in the past, I've been kind of frowned upon for that stuff because people walk in and be like, "What are you guys doing?"
It's like a change in culture.
And now it's,
almost.
I mean, even administrations walked in and went, "I love how you're incorporating this." I'm like, "Last year you told me not to." It's like the change in mindset, which I love.
And just being
Well,
creative.
I'm sorry, for years, I've just wondered why it hasn't been happening, because I know as a student, if you didn't let me move, I would create my own movement, which would drive you insane.
Yes.
And
You'd
I
get in
wasn't
trouble.
learning because I was tuning you out because I needed to move. And so I think this is the best thing that's ever happened, because I think you're going to engage a whole lot more of the kids.
Well, how many of us don't like to sit still during a
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, put me in a PD meeting. I'm out.
Oh, like I can't sit there. Oh my God.
But we get to move
Yeah.
all day, however much we want. That's like part of our job, and so asking our kids to do that, I think, just
Well, I think sometimes that's the funniest part about going to PD is teachers are the worst audience members because we are all moving and getting up and leaving when we want to.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that we make students just sit a lot of times.
I think too, like I remember hearing last year, and I was like, yeah, where people were doing indoor recess as movies, and I'm like, that's not really a break. The kids are having to, and then because what do you hear when somebody's watching a movie? You're like, shh, be quiet, sit still, sit down during their recess. That's like
And
ridiculous.
how about the punishment?
Yeah.
And you lose recess because you weren't. And I'm like, if you would let them move, they probably wouldn't have been causing you that problem, and then nobody would be standing on the spot.
Well, and that's where I think when we started doing recess, our lunch duty, we said, okay, you get a lap. And so our punishment wasn't 5 minutes on the wall. It was you have to do a lap, which at least they're moving, right?
Yeah.
So if either one of you had a chance to start over and I guess represent Fun Run Fridays to your students or redo anything about it, is there anything that you would change?
I think I'd want to be involved, honestly.
Well, and I was going to say when I first started here, I remember on Fridays, the staff did at the end of the day, we all did Fun Run Friday.
I love that.
Yeah, we used to do that.
Well, and I just liked it because I don't like to run, but I started liking it because it was like, okay.
Well, you get to talk, you get to listen to
Yeah,
great
it was
music.
fun.
You get to,
We all went in right after all the kids left, but that was before the change in schedule, and now it's kind of back to.
This is more just like, walk the talk. We talk about why it's important, and we do this, and I mean, I'm guilty of it. We do a brain energizer, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I could do this in my class,
Right.
but walk the talk,
I think I would like to know more, like for the kids who don't make that 20 minutes, for them to be able to track, okay, but they were at 17 minutes today. Or, you know what I mean, just so we can make more goals. And I don't know if you do that in...
Well, we talk about it because when the scoreboard was working, and school dude was working, they were told to do that to keep, like when they stopped jogging, look at the scoreboard, see where they stopped, and then, try to walk until they get their energy back and then start running and see if you could do more than you did before you stopped that time. So we had to talk about how to, full math involved there,
Right, yeah.
how to do that. So that's how I tried to do that. But they know. They do know a lot. I mean,
I feel like they can tell you.
Would it be cool? Because isn't it, they're like, I don't know, if is it Dibbles or what is the test where if you, or the reading level, like if you ask them their number, usually they know?
Oh, yeah, they know.
It'd be cool if you could walk up to any kid and say, how many minutes did you run? Just like
well, a lot of the kids will tell you, like in 3rd grade, I only got to the 7-minute jog. but now I got to the 15-minute jog. I mean,
I heard a lot of that this
I
year.
break it into those so that they can kind of keep track, because it is hard, you know, to know that, okay, I jogged for 4 minutes before I stopped, and then, you know, counting laps, that, no.
No, right.
I've tried every method on earth to count laps. It does not work. We've gone from popsicle sticks to me actually counting it. Nothing works, because I don't have the attention span either. So it's kind of hard. So that's why we went to kind of time.
Yeah.
The time.
So we want you to help us evaluate these movement plans. So we're wanting to know what works and what does not work, and is interested in making any improvements if necessary. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Is there anything that I missed? Is there any other questions that you have or would like to present to us as a group? If so, this is your time.
I think along with the fitness comes the healthy snacks we do here, which has changed, I think, a lot of our kids' perceptions of things. I mean, sometimes they're eating snacks that I have to Google and I have no idea what it is, or the jicama that there's just a lot that I've never even tried that we're trying, and I think that's really cool for these kids. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the fitness.
Right.
I think it's going to be great to display the results and the averages. So Ashley is going to make a display right outside with the averages of all the. So creating more of like a friendly competition, I think, will be really beneficial.
And I just like the whole positive spin on health and fitness, that it's not diet and exercise, it's lifestyle, and this is like the fun way to do it versus restriction, and
You have to be a star athlete.
right, and you're
So
doing it.
that took me a long time to get out of their mentality here, is because when I first started teaching here, it was all about athletics and being an athlete, and minor things. You don't have to be athletic to be healthy,
Right.
and most people aren't.
Right.
So I'm teaching to the non-athletes. The athletes don't need me. They
Right.
want me, but they don't need me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I try
Very
to
true.
grab those kids that,
That's a good point.
you know, would never, you know, that hate PE or hate to move.
That's huge. I think that's huge, because I think that's something we do in Girls on the Run, and to have a Mackenzie Dickerson do as well as she's done and like it as well as she likes it. That's not a kid that is a gym kid. I mean, not your typical gym kid, but she's phenomenal.
Right.
And I
But
don't
she's
know.
one of my harder workers.
Yes.
Well, and you would never look at her and be like, oh my goodness, she ran 5K. But
Right.
she did.
She
And
really
was-
did.
She's probably
And
a
that's
lot
huge
healthier.
for her self-esteem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And she's the one that needs it more than, like you said, your athletes. It's a big deal. I'd like to see how she does on FunRunFridays too.
She
But
does
she's
well.
great. I'm sure she does.
20 minutes.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for coming. I have some snacks and drinks over there that please go take some.
Are they healthy?
Thanks.